Hello, everybody. It's Friday. That means it's time for another topic of the week. First things first, last week's topic on optional and alternative rules. I would say fairly middling overall. That is what I mean by that is I think most people came down preferring a small amount of more alternative ways to play rather than full on explosive optional rules. As they don't like to sort of muddy the waters and they see it as a sign of sort of having the coherence of the game. And I get that. I think it might be, in my mind, as I've said many times, there's nothing in game design is free. Like, there is no rule that is just good. Okay? All rules have good and bad consequences. What you're aiming at is hopefully the majority of people who are playing your game or who might play your game in your target audience finding it more good than bad. That's the nature of game design. So, but I think most people were more favorable toward alternate systems, which makes sense because then it's sort of a top level thing where you change all of your expectations. And I think that's an interesting difference between them. It almost goes back to the discussion I had on bottom up versus top down game design. A alternative system says, instead of playing normal, we're going to play skirmish, right, or whatever. So, boom, that's a whole separate thing all of a sudden. And so you can unpack a completely separate set of expectations. And I think most people are favorable toward that kind of thing. Whereas optional rules sit way lower down in the pyramid, right, where you say, sort of there's the whole game, but then instead of this one thing, we're going to do this other thing. And now I have to keep track of all the little different things we're doing. So, all right. Interesting thoughts overall. Definitely gave me a lot to think about. I appreciate all the comments, response videos. Remember, that video is linked down below, so you can go check that out and check out all the response videos to it. But this week's topic, and this is going to be a short one because I've already expressed a lot of my opinions, but we're going to keep rolling. We're going to roll right on from Warhammer Weekly this week, and we're going to talk about the 40k 8th ed rules that you would like to see in, let's say, the General's Handbook 2, or whatever form a rules update for Age of Sigmar would take. So if you haven't watched Warhammer Weekly yet, go back, watch that. We talk through all the changes, what we think about them. In the end, I come down pretty hard on I'd like to see as close to none of them as possible. But your mileage may vary. That is nothing more than my own humble and, perhaps extremely biased and skewed opinion. I'll openly admit that. So this is what I want to see. In the comments down below, give me the rules, but not just like, I would like this. I mean, that's cool, great, thumbs up, but why? Why is that the thing you want to see? What do you feel would be good, and what do you feel could be bad? So, for example, one of the things that people talked about was the idea of like shooting not being out of combat or, not in combat or only against the people you're in combat with, some change to that dynamic, right? And I think many people, even who advocated for that, pointed out that you would then have to change the associated points of all of the units who rely heavily on shooting because that has a dramatic impact on their usefulness in the game, which I certainly agree with. If you don't do that, that's a big bad, right? So just those kinds of things. Map out what you think the consequences are and why you think, on balance, because that's what we're always talking about with game design rules, on balance, why you think it's good for the game. I'm interested to just have a discussion. This is all our own opinions. We're going to play nice here in the comments because we're just all talking about things we might want to see in this book. In the end, we've all given a lot of feedback, and this is more. This is more feedback for them to watch, to listen to think about, and for all of us to have I'd like to think, hopefully nuanced discussion. And I've been very happy. Normally in these Topic of the Week videos, the discussions are thoughtful, nuanced, because this community rocks, and I have no doubt that this one would be as well. So, drop them down below, or, of course, make a response video detailing your thoughts, and if you do that, link me the video, and I'll throw that down in the description so people can go watch that as well, and you can always return here to find all those videos. So there you go. Looking very much forward to your thoughts. Drop them down there. We'll see you next time.